Since the making of episode 1, many of the men we're interested in, they've fled to Pakistan. Our main subject in this episode fled to Pakistan and he's yet to return. Literally, men from Telford might as well have chartered their own planes to Kashmir. But I'd like to say a thank you. A thank you to members of the Muslim community, because many of them have come forward from Telford and pointed us in the right direction for our investigations. More and more people in Telford have come forward to tell us their stories and tell us what's really going on. We've connected local MP Lucy Allen, who's very strong on this issue. We've connected her to a victim who is trapped and is in need of help. Hopefully she's going to help her. Bearing in mind Telford Police have refused to meet me, we've been in contact with the National Crime Agency, the NCA, about the information that we've gathered. And there has been a frenzy of house attacks and car fire bombings. This is a new episode. It's a new investigation. They're new allegations, but they're all part of the same network of related families. For this episode, we're looking at the Hussains, the Iqbals, and the Khans. And the Ahmeds, we'll catch up with you in a future episode. I want to be clear before I start. Where allegations are made, nothing has been proven. And we will be giving the accused the right to reply. Finally, if you're one of those people who is going through keyboard abuse at our survivors, as has happened with Nicole, they deserved it, they wanted it, they're lying. Just remember, there are multiple allegations against each individual we're going to approach. And remember, these stories are about little girls, some as young as 10, being violently gang raped by adult men. Take a long, hard look at yourselves. We're ready, yeah? So, anytime, if you want to stop. I know it's probably been difficult coming here, and more difficult what I'm going to ask you to talk about. I read your independent inquiry. It's devastating. Is it alright if we just start at the beginning and literally just have a conversation where we flow through, and if there's bits I want to question you more on, then I will, if that's alright with you. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, first of all, when was you born?
1984.
1984. And you grew up in?
Telford.
In Telford. And what was your childhood like?
Had a good childhood until things started going wrong, probably around the age of 12. My dad was an alcoholic, and I was always his shadow. Wherever he went, I went. So I was always going to the pubs with him to look after him.
And at which age did your abuse start?
Well, the grooming started when I was about 14, but I didn't, it started going really bad when I was 15.
Explain to me what grooming is. What's the process, so that people understand the process that happens to a young girl?
They start taking you out in the cars, buying you things, not asking you for nothing, just being nice, saying that they, want to be your friend, your best friend.
What sort of things they buy you?
They start off with fags, alcohol, credit, then it'd be food, jewellery. After they know that they've got your trust and stuff, then that's when they start, they say that they're your boyfriend, make you feel that, you're loved and you're special. And then after a while, they start introducing you to other men.
Can we talk about your first time that this started with you? Can we talk about who it started with and tell me what happened?
The first time for me was with someone from the Royal Balti in Wellington. My friends was already involved. They was involved from the age of 12 and 13. One day my friend asked me to go with her to the Royal Balti, as she was sleeping with a man there, the owner of the business.
And who's that?
Abdul Latif.
And he's the owner of the Royal Balti.
In Wellington, he owns Peppers in Trench as well.
So how old was she?
She was about 12.
And she was having sex, being raped by him.
Yeah, she'd make me stand outside the door upstairs while she went in there with him. And she used to say to me, make out my mum's rang in like 5 minutes and say that I've got to go home quick.
To get her out of there.
So I used to make out, we've got to go, your mum's going mad. And then, so she didn't have to stay there for that long.
This is an Indian restaurant. Were there customers in the restaurant at the time of this?
Yeah.
You were upstairs in a side room then?
You go upstairs, there's all rooms upstairs.
Okay. Was this the first time you were physically or sexually assaulted?
No, it just started off me going there with her.
Okay.
And then we started going on deliveries with one of the drivers there.
Who was the driver?
He was called Nia, that's all I know. He was from Birmingham in Handsworth.
Okay.
The one day he just said to me when he was dropping us off home that I was the cute one. And he went to give me a kiss and I just ran. I jumped out the car and ran.
So you're all children? And they're organising you to lose your virginity with who?
Mia, the driver, because my friend who was going with the owner, they organised it all between them.
So where did you lose your virginity?
At the Royal Balti.
In the Indian restaurant, upstairs. And how old was Mia?
He was late 30s.
Late 30s. And you at this point were 14 or 15?
15.
15. So this is the car park of the Royal Balti.
Up them stairs, yeah, up them stairs. I think it was that far room.
And that far room?
That's right.
So this far room here, in the corner, is that where you lost your virginity?
Yeah, 29th of August, 1999.
Do you remember the date? Is the restaurant open?
Yeah.
There's customers?
All the workmen are working in there and they kept coming into the kitchen, that's where we had to stay in there.
Yeah.
In the kitchen as well. And they'd come in and grope us all and then
The
they'd go back out.
They'd come in and touch you all up.
Yeah.
So there's kids in here being touched up, kids in here being raped,
Yeah.
and unsuspecting customers sitting out there having their Indian restaurant, having their food.
Yeah. There was Abdul Latif, the owner.
Yeah.
One of the drivers.
Where was Abdul Latif from?
They're all from Birmingham.
They're all from Birmingham.
They just used to drive down.
They used to drive down to this restaurant, and then they'd have all the local young girls, English girls, they'd be raping them in here.
Yeah.
Abdul Latif, Mia. How old was Abdul?
30s as well.
30s.
And then there was Islan, he was like late 20s. And there was another one called, I think his name was like Sham. He looked a bit like that one that was just out here, but I'm not 100% if it is the same one, because obviously it's years ago.
Yeah.
But he had like his looks.
So that could have been him standing there.
Yeah.
Did he rape you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All four of them.
All four of them raped you? And you've been to the police?
Yeah.
About these men as well?
They've got their photos as well.
They've got their photos. You've took them to this restaurant.
There's even on the pictures, they're groping me on the pictures.
And the pictures the police have?
Yeah.
And you're a child?
And my dad reported it as well.
Back?
But the police said that they couldn't do nothing because I gave consent.
You're a child?
I was 15 and they said that they couldn't do anything because my dad goes, I want them done. And they said we can't do anything because she gave consent.
What year was this?
1999.
Was it upstairs in the bedroom? Was it?
Yeah, there was a bed in there. It was really untidy, there's like stuff everywhere.
So you've now lost your virginity, you're 15 years old, you've lost your virginity to, was he a Pakistani? Was he
Bangladesh.
a Bangladeshi? You lost your virginity to a 30-year-old Bangladeshi from Birmingham. Did it stop there?
No, that was just when everything went wrong after that. Going to school and my friend Lucy and her boyfriend at the time picked us up and I started getting to know him more.
Is this Lucy
Lowe?
Lucy Lowe, who was murdered?
Yeah.
And her boyfriend's name?
Azzy.
Azzy, okay.
He started ringing me a lot. Just being nice, wanting to chat and telling me about Lucy and stuff and how she'd done his head in and things like that. Every time I was upset, he'd always like talk to me and he used to say, if you ever get upset, if anything bad happens, you know, you can always ring me and stuff. I'll always be there for you. And he gave my number out to an Asian called Jibby, and Jibby gave my number to someone called Bash, and then it was Bash who passed my number on to Munchie, and then things got a whole lot worse from there.
So you heard in chapter 1, Nicole's story, how these men got control of her at the age of 11 through their restaurant and their takeaway delivery business. Now we hear the same story from... And once it started, her number was passed from one man to another man, from Jibby to Bash, from Bash to Munchie. King Ahmed, as he calls himself, or Mushtaq Ahmed Hussain, now the proud owner of the Mumbai Lounge. We'll come back to Bash shortly, but for now, let's meet Munchie, who we've been watching.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ
Yeah, that's right. Like the others, he's performing Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca, so devout in his religion, just like anti-grooming preacher Muhammad Charlie Khan from episode 1. Given the testimonies we've heard, on and off, we've been watching him for a couple of years. We can't show you everything here, but we'll share everything we have with the police. What we can tell you is that Munchie, Mushtaq Ahmed, Kayani King Ahmed, as he likes to call himself, is the sole director of the Mumbai Lounge. And it's therefore the Mumbai Lounge and locations he frequents that we're interested in.
ਸਾਡੇ ਰੁਤਬੇ ਮੜਕ ਠਰਮੇ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਬਾਲਿਆਂ ਤੇਜਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਰੁਤਬੇ ਮੜਕ ਠਰਮੇ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਬਾਲਿਆਂ ਤੇਜਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੀ ਯਾਰੀ ਔਖੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਐ ਜੋ ਸੀ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਲੰਡੂ ਫਿਰਨ ਬਥੇਰੇ ਜੋ ਟੋ ਟੋ ਕੇ ਵੇਖਣ ਜੇਬਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੁੱਢ ਤੋਂ ਆਸਤਰ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਿੱਤਰਾ ਉੱਠਣੀ ਬਹਿਣੀ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ
To put things into context, we're told our main subject, Munchie, is cousins with Muhammad Charlie Khan and Bugsy Khan from episode 1. We're also told that Munchie is cousins with Nazir Ahmed. We'll catch up with Nazir Ahmed's family in a future episode. But Munchie has two sisters. Nazir Begum, who is married to Zafar Iqbal, nicknamed Crowy. Remember that name, because we're going to catch up with him later in this episode. Okay? He has another sister, Khan, also known as Razia Begum. Now Razia Begum is married to Muhammad Charlie Khan from episode 1. You can see how intertwined these families are. Who's Munchie?
Mushtaq Ahmed.
Talk me through what happened when you first met him and how things developed with him.
He kept ringing me for weeks, saying that he knew, he could see me, he was driving past me, he knew what I was wearing, he knew everything about me. So I started getting paranoid, looking around the streets thinking, who's this man? You know, how does he know me? Then he just kept sending me all nice text messages and like love poems and stuff, and you know, when you get them, used to get them me to you teddy bear pictures. I was talking to him for ages and then I met him and he picked me up from TCAT one day when I was there on an induction day. He just took me to a car park and we was talking, and then he arranged to pick me up from school the next day.
How old was Munchie?
He was about 32.
32, and he's picking you up from school, so you're a school child and he was picking you up from school?
Yeah. He started taking me to his restaurant after school.
So can you talk me through some of the incidents with Munchie? I know this is going to be difficult because I've read some of them.
Obviously I thought I was going out with him. Don't know, he was just really nice to begin with. Take me to the restaurant and then I'd get there and he'd make me some food. I'd have my food and things like that, but then after a while it started to get bad. Like at the end of the night, when everyone would like close up and it'd all finish, he'd take me round like the corner, we'd turn all the lights off and just the radio would be on. And then he'd have sex with me, but then as I went to get up to, you know, get dressed to go home, that's when all the others would walk in.
All the others?
The workers.
The workers at the restaurant. How old were you at this point?
15.
So he'd rape you. You say have sex, you thought you was his girlfriend, but he'd rape you. And then afterwards, all of the other workers would come in and...
Yeah, because I'd be fighting and fighting and fighting, and then he'd be laughing, he'd like be trying to pin me down, and I wouldn't give in. So he'd laugh for ages and he'd just say, she does want it, she's just playing hard to get. And I'd be saying to him, no, I'm not, leave me alone. And then when he couldn't like pin me down, he'd start getting angry then. That's when he'd like get angry and get a bit violent, because he was, you know, not winning, wasn't doing what he wanted. Then he'd just pin me down and just let them all have me.
When you say them all, how many men?
About 5 or 6.
So then so he'd rape you and then he'd hold you down whilst 5 or 6 other men who work at his restaurant would rape you. Do you know any of those other men were?
Yeah. His brother-in-law.
His brother-in-law? Who's his brother-in-law?
He goes by the name of Crowy or Cobra.
So Munchie is raping you with his brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Together?
He was like the main one.
In these incidents, did they say anything to you? What sort of, did they call you anything? Did they?
I was always a slag and a whore.
Did they ever use any of their own language regularly?
Yeah. All the time. It was like white trash and stuff like that. And white skin. They'd always use like words like chitty chumbry and yagora.
What's chitty chumbry mean?
I'm not too sure now, I can't remember. I think it's like...
I'll look it up.
They'd always call me names, like Munchie was the worst. Like after everything happened and he'd like made me sleep with them all, then I was a slag. He'd just start calling me names and I used to say to him, you're the one that made me go with him. I didn't want to, so how am I a slag? And he'd be like, you loved it. That's all I'd get off him. I'd be there thinking, I'm never coming near these ever again. I really can't, I've got to stay away. I don't care, I'm going to have to run away. I'm going to have to get away from here. You know, and you just plan in your head, I've got to go. But then, like, the next day, you start getting all nice messages again and stuff. Once you'll be all like, I love you, I'm sorry, thank you for doing that for me, now I know you love me. Stuff and things like that.
Just manipulating a little child's mind.
Or it'd be like, they mention like another Asian name and say, oh, their girlfriend does that for them.
So sometimes when this was happening to you upstairs, would you say there's been customers
It wasn't
down?
upstairs, it was in the actual restaurant.
This happened in the restaurant?
The tables on the floor.
On the floor of the restaurant?
Yeah. This was when they'd all gone.
When they'd all gone?
Yeah.
So when they'd all gone, they'd get you in the restaurant?
We'd lock all up.
So you've heard allegations that Munchie, a man in his 30s, got hold of a phone number of a 15-year-old schoolgirl, harassed her, groomed her by sending her teddy bears and getting her to believe she was his girlfriend. And then he raped her. He let all the other restaurant workers rape her. And more often than not, was raping her alongside his brother-in-law, the husband of his sister, Crowy, Cobra. Real name, Zafar Iqbal. It seems like this is a family business. And this happened day after day after day for years. And while we're looking at the family business, we could investigate Munchie's kids for allegations made against them. But one of them, he's landed in the middle of our documentary. Let's introduce him.
I'm in the street.
Damn right.
I'm Albanian blood. I'm a gangster.
My McQueen's and that, bro. All ready up, steady up, yeah?
ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਵੱਡੇ ਘਰ ਵੜਦਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਵੈਲੀ ਬੂਟ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਲਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਪਟੇ ਪਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਲੰਮੇ ਤੇ ਮੁੱਛ ਦਾੜੀ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਵਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਚੱਬ ਚੱਬ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਉਹ ਚਿੰਗਮ ਖਾ
Munchie's son is our Ahmed Hussein, or Flash, or Goldie, or Camp Gangster. We'll meet him later. I read of another incident in your report where you, I believe, went to hospital after, where you were bleeding. Can you talk me through that incident and who was involved in it?
There was about 3 times that I had to go.
Three separate times you had to go to hospital?
The one was like over the road from where it happened.
So where raped, what happened?
Munchie took me to this house. It was like in a cul-de-sac opposite that house. I remember sitting in the front room and they had the telly on, and then Munchie put some porn on, and then he was saying, joking around to me, saying like, "Do you want to you're going to make a movie and stuff?" And I was like, "No, get lost," like laughing with him. And then I just had a drink, and then next thing I knew, I was in bed upstairs. I don't know how I got there or nothing.
With who?
All of them that was there.
How many of them?
Probably saying about 5, 6, 7, I don't know.
Who was there?
There's Munchie and Tolly, because they were the ones that was on me as well.
Munchie and Tolly. And when you was upstairs in the bedroom, what was happening?
And they was all raping me.
At the same time?
Yeah, they was all on me.
All of them on you?
And I just kept like, you know, when you can't stay awake. I was like that. And I couldn't even move my legs or my arms or nothing. My whole body was dead. You know, and you feel like you're hallucinating. It was just like that. So I remember someone at the corner like recorded me.
They were filming it?
Yeah.
Munchie?
Yeah.
He was raping you?
And there was Crowy.
Crowy, the brother-in-law?
And Purveyors.
And they're all raping you at the same time? In different holes?
Yeah.
And the police still don't think that this needs to be prosecuted?
No.
Did you attend hospital?
Yeah, I had to because I was really, really sore and really bad, and I felt like I was all damaged. But I remember when I walked in, I had to go to the GU clinic at the hospital because my doctors told me to go there.
Did they bring, when you've turned up, so you've turned up as a child, as a young lady, girl, in a hospital, bleeding from front and back, swollen?
Really bad.
Really swollen? Did they ring the police?
No.
Who brought you to the hospital?
I took myself.
You took yourself, so you've gone as a young child on your own to a hospital?
Because at first when you go in, they take you in this room and this woman talks to you and asks you what's happened and why you're there. And then you have to go in and get examined.
And you say you ended up in hospital multiple times?
Yeah. They gave me a card once and said if I need someone to talk to. It's like a counsellor or something.
They gave you a card, they never rang the police?
No.
So I believe you went to see your doctor as well, am I right?
Yeah.
What was your doctor's name?
At the time, it was called Dr. Swallow.
What did he say?
I said to him the one day, I went, am I infertile? And he said, why did you say that? And I said, because I haven't got pregnant and all this, you know, all this stuff's like, I keep coming here all the time for like morning after pill. I said, how come I haven't got pregnant? I said, am I infertile? And he said, no, I doubt it, and this, that and the other. He said, are you the lady of the night?
Are you a lady of the night?
But I didn't understand what he meant then. I didn't get what he meant.
Are you a lady of the night? Are you a prostitute? You was a child at this time as well?
Yeah.
He never questioned you further?
Nothing.
No contact? What have social services been, what were they like when you were young?
I didn't really see anyone. I saw one man called I always remember his name. I seen him at the police station. And he just, I wouldn't talk then. I was too scared to say anything. And he just gave me a card and he said, here's my card if you ever want to talk. And I always kept it for years.
You used to go missing for days?
Sometimes weeks.
Sometimes weeks?
Yeah, and the police would be looking for me. My mum and dad had been worried sick, ringing the police.
And where would you be?
In Birmingham mainly.
Your little friendship group, the school you went to, how many girls, say in your class, do you think were being forced to have sex with older Muslim men?
There's about 7, 8 of them.
7, 8 girls? In your class? Just in your class?
Yeah.
So the numbers we're looking at here of how many children have been affected and how many children have been raped.
All you had to do was walk down Wellington and there was just every girl you see on the churchyard, in High Street, at the bus stop.
A lot of this seems to be centred around Indian restaurants. Can I ask what nationality were the men that were raping you? Were they Indian?
No.
No.
Pakistanis.
They're Pakistanis. How many Indian restaurants do you think in Telford are children being raped in?
I'm not too sure. Like now.
Now, how many do you know of when you was younger?
When I was younger, there was probably about 10.
About 10?
Now, another town this week joined the list of shame where sex gangs have roamed seemingly unchecked to prey on girls as young as 11, raping, drugging, beating, trafficking and potentially even murdering them in the process. What's happened in Telford could be the worst case of a paedophile gang involved in widespread child abuse the country has ever seen. But as I read the names of those convicted, something struck me. In Telford, they included Azir Ali Mahmood, Mubarak Ali and Adel Ali. In a similar case in Rotherham, Razwan Razag, Adil Hussein and Zafran Ramzan were among the guilty. To Rochdale now, Mohammed Amin, Abdul Aziz and Mohammed Sajid, among others, were convicted. And now to Oxford, where it was Anjam Dogar, Kamir Jamil and Zishan Ahmed ending up behind bars. Now, a very broad reckoning of the guilty shows around 80% are men of Pakistani and Bangladeshi origin. Well, a couple of observations then. Why do they appear to view white girls as objects to be traded and even disposed of? And what is their community doing about it?
We have to acknowledge that sex and sexuality and gender and respect for the opposite gender are issues within certain parts of the diaspora. That's the South Asian community, the Arab community, and large sections of the Muslim community. These are things that we have to discuss.
If you look just at the Quran, you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. If you just read the Quran, it is halal, it would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. In Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. And then he says, وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ, and the ones who had never been pubescent before. And by the way, this is very important, yeah? I want all Muslims to be aware of this. The reason why we don't have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds or whatever is not because of puberty. The Quran doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that the woman has to be pubescent. I dare you to find one verse in the Quran where it says you're not allowed to marry someone based on harm, or you're not allowed to have sexual intercourse based on harm, or you're not allowed to marry someone based on puberty. So if you're Quran alone, you're allowed to have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds. Get me one verse in the Quran which says the woman has to be pubescent. One verse. I want one verse in the Quran from the beginning of the book to the end of the book which says that she has to be pubescent.
And Daniel, you know what? It's too depressing to carry on. It goes on and on. One second, Daniel. The pattern in all of these, overwhelmingly, is South Asian Muslim men, primarily Pakistani, sometimes Somali Muslims, sometimes North African Muslims. It doesn't help us, Daniel, to pretend this wasn't a phenomenon that was replicated across the country. What I would advise you said you're a South Asian Muslim man, therefore your name probably is Daniel or something other than Daniel. I would advise you to address this topic head on and not pretend it's not a national phenomenon, because I guarantee you that anger will rise if you come on radio and pretend this is not a national problem.
It is an issue, and it's an issue about how those young men think of women, women of their own ethnicity who attempt to be off limits, and then what they do about vulnerable white girls. And there's no point pretending it is not a problem, because it is.
We need a proper, thorough investigation by the police, gathering together all the information about all these cases in different parts of the country to see whether there are patterns and networks that need to be addressed in order to stop this crime. I don't think that we can make that jump necessarily to it being a cultural problem.
Yes, Keith Vass MP doesn't think we can jump to the conclusion that this industrial scale rape and gang rape of little white girls is a cultural problem. Well, he's always had a casual relationship with the truth and with reality, and he's always been happy to prostitute himself and his views for his own benefit. And talking of prostitutes, here he is with two male prostitutes complaining that he, and I quote, had to fuck one of them without a condom. I think we'll ignore the commentary on grooming from Keith. Incidentally, Keith Vass left the House of Commons and a few weeks later was back working for the Labour Party. And let's not forget the ennobled Lord Ahmed of Rotherham. Yes, Rotherham, who in February 2022 got 5.5 years in prison for the sexual assault of 2 children, including buggery. That's anal rape and attempted rape. His brothers, both called Mohammed, were also charged, but considered by some idiot somewhere as unfit to stand trial. So it looks like child abuse is a family business here as well. That was February this year. And in the interest of balance, just this April, Tory MP Imran Ahmed Khan was found guilty of molesting a young boy while at the same time advising the government of child sexual exploitation. You really couldn't make this up. Yeah, that's right. Amjad Ditta, also known as Amjad Hussain, a serving police officer, was charged along with 15 other men, all except one of them, Muslims, with sexual offences against children. Our leaders are so desperate in their efforts to sell us a multicultural utopia, they will cozy up to, promote and even ennoble anyone with brown skin. Muslims the most favoured, of course, regardless of the content of their character. And the cost of this ideological stupidity is the suffering of children.
What is concerning is if pockets of our country, communities like ours, Daniel, yours and mine, are disproportionately involved in any one type of crime. That disproportionate number raises questions about our attitudes, our meaning British Pakistani men, our attitudes towards the rest of society, and whether we have a Muslim supremacist attitude. One of the defendants in this case, Daniel, I'm sorry you're not going to like hearing this stuff, but the truth doesn't necessarily care about your feelings. One of the main defendants in trial argued that it's his religious right to have sex with underage girls, and that was his defense. Look it up, Daniel. It is unbelievable, and you and I know that that kind of argument gets bandied about. You and I know, and if you don't believe me again, look it up, that in Pakistan, your and my country of origin, where our parents are from, when they tried to raise the age of sexual consent, it was shot down by the Ideological Council of Guarding Islamic Culture in Pakistan, shot down in Parliament and deemed blasphemous for trying to raise the age of consent. Because religion gets involved, culture gets involved. We've got to be able to have this conversation without being in denial, Dan. I really wish, for goodness sake, after the appeal I put out on the radio, I wish you'd called up and your first thought had been about these underage young white girls, the victims. I wish the first thing you did is call up this radio and say how disgusting to do this to these underage young victims. Instead, you want to obfuscate and talk to me about how I'm, giving statistics that you don't like. And it's just, this is what frustrates me, Daniel. Why was that your first reaction to the topic instead of thinking of the girls? And that's why I think it's about time that we just stop pretending this isn't a problem and address it head on, recognise there is this disproportionate problem within our communities, and worry about the victims.
We need very briefly to say this is a class problem, this is a cultural problem, and this is also a language problem.
Religion as well, by the way.
Also religion, because firstly on language, these are paedophiles who are raping children. Okay, let's just accept that. And these are not women, these are not girls in relationships.
Yes,
we haven't talked about class, and the reason why the authorities turned a blind eye and threw these girls under a bus or to the wolves was because they were, as it were, in an underclass. They thought these girls are out of education, they've been failed by social services. Honestly, if these were middle-class girls at boarding school, do you honestly think these children would not have been taken proper care of by the boarding school?
Across Europe, not just in Britain, there's a disproportionate rate of offending by either Muslim migrants or Muslims born and raised in Europe against white girls. And there are class reasons to it, there are patriarchal reasons to it. Why it happens in Muslim majority nations is largely due to the social conservative attitudes in society and their patriarchal and misogynist attitudes towards women, and also cultural elements kick in. Now, for example, fundamentalist interpretations of Islam believe that as long as you have consent of the father, there's no underage, there's no pre-puberty, there's no limit on marrying a girl. They refer to the Prophet having married a 9 or 11-year-old, depending on the age of reference.
Right.
These attitudes must be challenged and they must be addressed.
If my daughter, if my daughter wants to hold on, let me finish. If my daughter reached the age of menstruation at 9 years old, I would say you are ready. You are ready to get married.
This scandal involving 27 cities with probably thousands of underage young girls, it must lead to a Stephen Lawrence-style national inquiry looking into what the institutional failures have been. There has been failures on an institutional level in the care homes up and down this country. There have been failures on an institutional level in the police up and down this country. And there have been failures on an institutional level in local Labour councils, probably not only Labour, but mainly Labour councils up and down this country, because people have been scared of being called racist. And the fear of racism, or the fear of so-called Islamophobia, which is a misnomer, the fear, more appropriately, of anti-Muslim bigotry, must never be an excuse to allow underage girls to be raped and abused in this way. But it was. Think of that. Imagine that. 27 cities. And counting. Because I can guarantee you we haven't heard the end of this yet. Imagine the thousands of victims. Imagine the impunity with which these men must have been acting. It is an absolute disgrace that this has been allowed to go on in this country. And you may hear me being angry right now. If you're not going to be angry about this, what on earth are you going to get angry about? Don't tell me that their Muslim identity had nothing to do with this. I have lived and breathed this community all of my life. I can guarantee you that it's not the cause, but a factor in the way in which these girls was treated was the culture of these men, and as part of that culture is their religious attitude towards non-Muslims. And that is the reason that you see almost exclusively that they are men like me, Pakistani, British, Muslim. Most of them. Some of them Bangladeshi Muslims, some of them Indian Muslims, some of them North African Muslims, some of them Somali Muslims, all of them Muslims, almost all Pakistani Muslims. And the victims, almost all underaged white girls. Now, who will lead, who will defend the voiceless in this national scandal?
So there has been media coverage, and some courageous individuals, not least Majid Nawaz, they've spoken out about how nearly all of the men involved in this gang rape of little white girls are Pakistani Muslims. And most of the rest, they're Muslims as well. We hear two leading Islamic influencers speaking at Speaker's Corner. One explained that the Quran, Allah's words, say nothing to prevent sex with 5-year-olds. The other saying he'd be happy for his daughter to get married at 9 if she'd reached puberty. Is there something in the doctrine of Islam that is making some people think that this abhorrent behaviour is acceptable. Well, this bit is important. I want to make sure we give a fair representation of Islam's doctrines. Almost a decade ago, before I was totally cancelled from TV and social media, I was using my voice to question the teachings of Islam that sanction the rape and slavery of non-Muslim women.
We as a community, if you like, have to be honest and open about that. We've all got a duty to tackle child abuse. But the difference is
You're a heroic moderate for saying it. I'm a far-right hooligan.
Anne Cryer tried but failed to get her local mosque to talk to suspects' families.
I went to a friend of mine who was a local councillor and he happened to be a Muslim and therefore he was able to represent me to the elders because I thought it was a good move to try to get those elders involved.
Yeah, it was a good move.
I hoped that I would be able to persuade the elders to go knocking on doors and say to them, this behaviour is un-Islamic and I want it to stop because I'm going to tell the whole community about you and what you're doing if you don't. Now, they weren't prepared to do that.
There is a possibility for me that this is linked to Islam. Maybe it's not, but maybe it is. When you have in the Quran...
How can you say it's linked to Islam?
Because
on what basis? What's your evidence?
Okay, the Quran, you can take sexual slaves.
You
can take sexual slaves. Whatever you, outside of your four wives...
That you can take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. I don't think you could find it.
It is nice to see you reading the Quran, though, I have to say. It's obviously not making a difference, is it? Because you're still distorting it.
No, I'm not distorting. I'm reading it. If you fear that you not deal justly with the orphan girls, then marry those that please you of other women, 2, 3 or 4. If you fear that that will not be just, then take what your right arm possesses, i.e. slaves.
Where does it say sexual slaves?
Slaves, you can take...
No, where does it say sexual slaves? Where does it say sexual slaves? Don't distort it.
Well, maybe it's not me misrepresenting it. Maybe it's the groomers that are misrepresenting this. Would we all agree that these girls that have been targeted in these gangs are slaves, being treated like slaves? Can we agree?
Look, I think that is a very unhelpful way of tackling the issue.
They're being treated like slaves, and we have chapters in here that tell them it's okay to take non-Muslim women as slaves, and to me, that needs to be explored.
To Mo, Tommy continually tries to unfairly blame the religion of Islam for criminal acts.
Tommy's tried to create a link between some theological aspects and linking them with paedophilia, and that's wrong. Whatever sources he's using, they're deeply flawed.
It says in the Quran that you can take non-Muslim women as slaves. What do they do with slaves? If it's in there, we must explore that avenue.
A meeting was set up in London at the end of August with 2 experts on the Quran. Dr. Osama Hassan from Quilliam is a scientist and Islamic scholar, whilst historian Tom Holland has written groundbreaking books on the birth of Islam. Tommy used this opportunity to go straight to his belief that it is Islamic texts that are to blame for gang abuse of young girls.
Basically, outside of your 4 wives, you can take whatever your right arm possesses, yeah? Now, how do we understand that?
That referred to slavery, which are concubines. Yeah, concubines, which included sexual slavery. Now, that was part of ancient culture.
Tom is delighted they seem to agree with his position.
تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وإنك لمن المرسلين.
That's right. Allah tells Muhammad to tell us that the verses in the Quran are directly from Allah. Allah is Islam's God. That's chapter 2, verse 252 of the Quran. Allah also tells Muhammad to tell us that he, Muhammad, is an excellent example to follow. Some translations say good, some say perfect, some say the best. That's Surah 33:21. Allah tells Muhammad to tell us that he, Muhammad, and I'm quoting him here, is of great moral character, or a man of outstanding character, sublime, exalted, highest, noblest, depending on which translation you prefer. That's Surah 68:4. And finally, and importantly, and for the free-thinking Muslims out there, take note. Once Allah and Muhammad have decided on something, you don't have any option. You don't have any choice in the matter. There's a fatalism to that, I think. Inshallah. As Sir Nicholas Soames' grandfather, Winston Churchill, said, "How dreadful were the curses which Mohammedanism lays on its votaries. Besides the fanatical frenzy, which is as dangerous in a man as rabies in a dog, there is this fearful, fatalistic apathy. The effects are apparent in many countries. Improvident habits, slovenly systems of agriculture, sluggish methods of commerce, and insecurity of property exists wherever the followers of the Prophet rule or live. A degraded sensualism deprives this life of its grace and refinement, the next of its dignity and sanctity. The fact that in Mohammedan law, every woman must belong to some man as his absolute property, either as a child, a wife, or a concubine, a slave, must delay the final extinction of slavery until the faith of Islam has ceased to be a great power among men. Thousands become brave and loyal soldiers of the faith. All know how to die, but the influence of the religion paralyses the social development of those who follow it. No stronger retrograde force exists in this world. Far from being moribund, Mohammedanism is a militant and proselytising faith. It has already spread throughout Central Africa, raising fearless warriors at every step. And were it not that Christianity is sheltered in the strong arms of science, the science against which it has vainly struggled, the civilization of modern Europe might fall, as fell the civilization of ancient Rome. Let's just repeat that last verse from Winston Churchill. The civilization of modern Europe might fall, as fell the civilization of ancient Rome. Now, he'd made these comments before there were 5 million followers of Islam in Britain. All that put simply, Muhammad said Allah was speaking to him, and Allah said Muhammad was the last prophet. Allah said Muhammad was the perfect example and of great moral character, and Allah said Muhammad had to be obeyed. Allah said if Muhammad and Allah have decided on something, you've got no option, no room for free thinking, no freedom of conscience, no opinion. You've got no freedom. One other critical consideration when trying to understand how the gang rape of children has gone on for so long, that's over 40 years, yeah, in Britain, is understanding an Islamic worldview. I don't separate the world. Islamic doctrine does. We have Dar al-Islam, the land of Islam. That's countries under the control of Islam. We have Dar al-Harb, the land of war, countries where Muslims are fighting to establish Islam. Many Muslims see the UK itself as a land of war. That's because the UK has been fighting in Muslim countries. Think of our foreign policy: Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. And in this case, the taking of sexual slaves from the enemy, whether it be white girls in the UK or Yazidi girls in Iraq, it's a right. It's Malak al-Yamin. These girls are what Islam refers to as their right-hand possessions. There's many verses in this book. Pick it up, read it. There are many verses in this book which legitimise, which sanction, which give permission for Muslim men to take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. For time's sakes, I'm just going to look at two. Quran 4:24. Also forbidden are women already married, except those slaves who your right hand possesses. It's outside of your four wives. You can take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. That's what it says in the Quran. Quran 23:6. Successful believers are those who guard their chastity. And I quote from verse 6, except from their wives or the slaves that their right hand possess. For then they are free from blame. Free from blame. They can take slave women, have sex with them outside of their wives, and they are free from blame. So says Muhammad, the perfect moral compass for the Muslim world, who's instructed by God. Okay? That's what it says. Let's examine one more verse. Chapter 65, verse 4. In a section from Allah about the rules for men divorcing women. And I quote, and for those who don't have periods, i.e. they are still immature. These are the words in the Quran. They are still immature. The waiting period is 3 months. So if you want to divorce a child who has not yet started her periods, she has to wait 3 months before marrying again. So you can marry a child who hasn't started her period. I don't know what you're doing during your marriage to this child, but then you might fall out with her or something, or decide to divorce her, and you have to wait 3 months. That's what it says in the book. Now, is there anyone out there that wants to argue with me that girls in towns like Telford, Rotherham, Rochdale, Aylesbury, all these cities, I could go on and on. Does anyone want to argue with me that these English girls have not been taken as slaves, sexual slaves, by Muslim men? So whether it's the importance of Muhammad's example and the need to follow it, or Allah's revealed words in the Quran about divorcing prepubescent girls, making it clear sex with children is okay, or whether it's Allah's ruling that it's halal, it's permitted to have sex with slaves in your possession, under your control, it's blameless. Because the UK is viewed as a land of war, or Allah's words about entering women any way you want, you know, ploughing them like farmland. We have to ask, could any of these things be factors in the industrial scale abuse of children that we're seeing? What influence might all of these teachings be having in a town like Telford? Let's have a little look at the numbers. Telford has a total population of 166,000 people, 88,000 males. Once you take away the under 16s and the over 65s, you're left with 53,000. Telford only has a 1.8% Muslim population. That means there's 956 working age Muslim men in Telford. Operation Chalice. The police operation in Telford identified 100 victims alone in a year and 200 suspects. 200 suspects from 956 males. 20.9%. 1 in 5 men in that town have been raping our children.
Well, it was more than 50 for me, but that was just like 50 from Munchie, probably. There's probably about 250 men altogether.
250
and I named all them in my diary.
250 just for you?
Mm-hmm.
All from Telford?
Yep. Yeah. But when I did my police IDs, I ID'd every single one. And when I went to ID them all, straight away I went, that's him.
So you named 250 men to the police. And how many men have actually been sent to prison for attacking?
None of them.
None.
They only arrested 25 because they said they wanted to get the main ones, but they only arrested 25. Most of them said they didn't know me, even though I ID'd them. And Munchie said he knew me and said he had a relationship with me, but that's as far as he admitted.
So Munchie was questioned over the attacks?
Yeah.
And he was never charged?
No. Because they said it was going to be my word over theirs, and I was on my own. I did have one witness. He was a man who witnessed what Jibby and Bash and Majid and that did to me in that flat, because he witnessed, he was living there, he heard me screaming, he heard me crying, and he saw me coming down in a mess, and he heard me like screaming for help and crying. So he wrote a statement for me saying that he did witness all that.
Was he a Pakistani man?
He was a white man. So he was willing to go to court for me, but then nothing went. That's another house we was talked to by Bash.
This is another house just literally around the corner again.
Yeah, it's right opposite the shop.
And Bash took you here for
the same thing.
Sex with lots of men.
Yeah, he bought alcohol.
Bash would buy the alcohol.
The food, saying it was a party.
And the party would be you and
me.
Just you.
Me. And other men.
So Bash would organise a party in this house?
Yeah.
Where's the women in this house?
There was no one there.
There's no women?
I think it's when they send them
back to Pakistan?
Yeah.
Then they'd get you round as a kid?
Because when I went upstairs to the toilet, I could see like a kid's room with all kids' stuff.
But none of them
There's
there?
all baby stuff everywhere.
They'd bring you in the house. And how many men would visit the house in the night?
Probably about 7, 8.
You'd be forced to...
Yeah. Sleep with them.
And Bash organised this?
Yeah.
And who's Bash?
He's Munchie's best mate.
Munchie's best mate. Okay.
He was like one of the first ones.
For you?
Yeah, it was him and Jibby that I spoke about in the flats in Dot Hill.
Okay. Right, go next one, Mark. Yeah. Next one, please, Mark.
They said that even though CPS said that it would be, they couldn't, decided not to pursue it because it was me on my own against all of them, and they didn't think I'd be able to cope, and they didn't think that, you know, there would be enough evidence because it was past rather than anything new. It was all past evidence. So they said that they didn't think I'd handle court on my own. But all I know is on the night of the fire, I was at home and I had an argument with my dad, and he took my mobile phone off me. But Bash had already given me a secret phone and said, keep that in case you know, your dad ever gets your phone. And I had a big argument with my dad and I was crying, and I rang Lucy and asked if I could go and sleep there, and she said yeah. And I'd spoke to them. I can't remember if Bash rang me or I rang them. I think they might have rang me, I can't remember. But I was speaking to him anyway, and Bash told me not to go to Lucy's. He told me to stay at home, and he said that he was going to look into getting me a place to live and stuff like that. He said, whatever you do, don't go to Lucy's. So I was like, okay. I didn't know why, he just like warned me I wasn't allowed to go. So I didn't think nothing of it, and I just literally cried myself to sleep and fell asleep. And I woke up the next morning to two friends, you know, come to my house and that. And I was sat at the bottom of my bed. I'm still like trying to wake up. And they're telling me, like, looking all like sad and saying to me that Lucy's died. And I was like, what do you mean? She's dead and everything. And they said her house got set on fire last night and it's killed them all, basically.
I just want to recap. A man called Bash, Munchie's best friend, was an abuser of He'd arranged parties where men would come and rape. He also warned not to sleep at Lucy Lowe's house the night she was murdered. Did he know about the plan to murder her in advance? Now, Bash, like his art, we'll be meeting him later. So in episode 1, Nicole's story, there was no further action when there was a fetus, DNA evidence of a rape. In the case, she gave the police over 250 names. 25 men were arrested for the rape and abuse that she suffered. But there were no prosecutions. The alleged perpetrators were untroubled by the flagship police investigation Chalice, and the police decided would not be able to cope with going to court. Took us to many, many houses and restaurants in Telford and the surrounding area where she and others had suffered rape, gang rape and abuse. And tell me what happened here.
I was stopping here with my mate and my kids and her kids, and that's when I got a phone call, and it was obviously Bugsy ringing me up, and they was outside the house.
Who was he with?
Charlie and Tarek. The one time, and then the second time Harry was with him as well, Munchie's brother.
Munchie's brother, yeah.
That's when they kept saying like that I had to go with Tarek.
That you had to go, what, into a room with Tarek?
With Tarek, yeah. I just remember them holding the door so I couldn't get back out.
So, okay. So you're in the room with Tarek Mahmood?
Yeah, and he put the bed up against the door because I kept trying to open it to get out.
And they were the only people in the house were Charlie and Bugsy?
Yeah, the first time was Charlie.
The first time. And Tarek Mahmood then has...
Just pushed me on the bed, put the bed up against the door so I couldn't, because I kept trying to get out.
Yeah. Push on the bed and raped you.
Yeah. And he kept saying this thing, he kept going, making them all laugh, he kept going, very, very tat.
Very, very tat.
Yeah, in his like freshy accent, like.
Because he's fresh. And
very, very tat.
When you say making them laugh, what they were.
They were laughing at what he was saying. He kept looking at me and he was going, very, very tat. That was before it all happened.
And you could hear them laughing outside.
It means something like, about your balls, men's balls, like heavy, basically full. I don't know, something like that.
Oh, the word means that his balls were full, so they've brought him round here to empty his.
Basically.
To empty his balls. And they're all laughing.
Yeah.
And that's Charlie, Bugsy and Tarek Mahmood. And then they come back again another time.
Yeah, with Harry.
With Harry. And who were you... what happened that time?
Kind of the same thing.
With Harry?
but Harry didn't do anything.
Oh, it's
Harry.
Tarek Mahmood again. Okay.
Yeah, but Harry was with him the second time.
Okay. So they just thought they could just come here.
Yeah, because they knew. And once she knew I was always here at my friend's house.
And they could just come walk in.
Yeah.
Where were your kids at this time?
They're in the bedroom asleep, the other bedroom.
The other bedroom?
I was talking to her lad's bedroom.
That's where they took you?
Into her baby's bedroom, basically her baby's bed. It's like a single bed.
To a single bed. So Charlie and Bugsy have come in here with a freshly migrant. Who, and when you say who was it, who was it who was it the freshly migrant who was coming here telling you had to have sex with him, or was it?
No, it was Bugsy.
It was Bugsy.
Yeah.
Bugsy was the one dictating what was going on.
Yeah.
We have serious allegations from children who say that you were involved in the rape and prostitution of them, that you were a kingpin having them trafficked in. Well, can we talk? I've got some questions. We have accusations that you trafficked young children. You trafficked young children. You were the kingpin. You chose who they were raped by. You prostituted them. What is your relationship with Inspector Jim Bayliss? Bugsy, what is your relationship with Inspector Jim Bayliss? When you say freshie, is that how long? Do you know how long he's been here?
He had not long been in the country.
When this was going on, he had not long been in the country. They brought him round to empty his balls. Okay. Right. And okay, thank you. So you remember Bugsy, aka Gulfraz Khan, and Mohammed Charlie Khan from episode 1, and their alleged role in drug dealing and the pimping of Nicole at the age of 11 through to 16, from 2010 to 2015. Well, here we've heard that they were busy doing the same thing, selling young girls for money a decade earlier, taking freshies, as they're called, recently arrived migrants, to empty their balls with a white English child. The consequence of a failing justice system is not only years of suffering for our survivor in this episode, but a decade later, endless suffering for Nicole, and who knows how many girls in between. I just want to be fair, okay? Out of these family trees, we have allegations by multiple girls about many of these men, but not all of them. So I'm just going to go through and show us which men in these family trees we have allegations against that they are rapists. Some of these men are named as rapists, and those that aren't named as rapists, many of them are named as drug dealers. But some of them, they're named as drug dealers and rapists. But I don't want to label every single person on this, so we're just going to go through and see which ones we've got allegations against drug dealing for. So the courageous survivors know where they were abused. They know the houses, they know the businesses, they know where they were raped by gangs of men. The police are aware of which premises are being used to abuse and rape children. The council are aware. The media and the newspapers, they're fully aware. But the parents and the children of Telford, they may not be aware of what is happening to young children in some restaurants as they close, or upstairs, or while people are eating downstairs, or in the kitchen by the waiters in between serving customers. We have a duty, I have a duty, to make you aware. I want to make you aware of what we know. So if you have to make a choice of where you go to eat, where your children may be allowed to go, or where you decide to get a takeaway from, you may want to think twice before giving those businesses your money. I think it's time we dropped in on the Mumbai Lounge, where Munchie, Bash and Izar work. And then we'll go and have a chat with Crowy, Munchie's brother-in-law, you know, Zafar Iqbal. We'll give them the opportunity to respond to the allegations being made against them. Before we go and approach these men, I want you to understand the in-depth 12 to 18 month investigation we've done. I've met with dozens and dozens of victims. We've got 12 and we've formed a database full of the perpetrators, the allegations, and each time they're named, we flag it. So when one name comes up, we're not approaching these men off the allegations of one girl. We'll check now how many different girls have named these men. We're looking at Munchie, Bash and Crowie. Munchie is on page 3. Let's have a look at Munchie. Page 2, page 3. No, that's... So Mushtaq Ahmed, Mushtaq Hussain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different girls. 5 different girls have named Munchie as being involved in their rape, prostitution and trafficking. 5 different children. Bash is on page 4. Basharat Hussain, 1, 2, 3, 4 different girls named Bash. Crowie Zafar Iqbal is on page 7. See how many girls have named Crowie. Crowie, page 7. Zafar Iqbal, 1, 2, 3, 4. But let me just show you as we work our way through here. The alleged perpetrators. We're on episode 2. There's many more episodes to come, just so you can see and understand the level of the investigation that we have carried out and the amount. We have over 200 men who have been named in this investigation.
So the purpose of this is simple. It's just so that I can get in and ask him questions, you know. The problem is that there's probably about 8 members of staff. Munchie, who is the main alleged rapist, who has been holding children down whilst they are gang raped repeatedly by men. Some of these, one of these girls end up in hospital 3 times. They split her anal and vagina together, yeah, with what they've done to her. Now, the problem is Munchie works in the kitchen, which means he will have knives. So there is a risky situation of going in. Some of his relatives, his nephews and his cousins, are working as waiters. They're young, they might be fiery. It's impossible. I've tried to contact him multiple ways. I've tried to put questions to him to get answers. I have to give him the right to reply because we're about to publish some of the sickest allegations ever against the man. The allegations are that this has happened repeatedly in his business. It's literally, we're just here to do our job, yeah? That's literally it. So the bar's busy. The bar's very busy, yeah? We don't really want to go through this way. This is the Indian restaurant, this side of the pub. It looks like this is the restaurant side. So they're there, armed door ins over here. Hello, Munchie?
Hey, no, Munchie. Come on, my lad. Welcome, please. Come on, Munchie. I know, my lad.
Right, so you got the camera ready? You got the camera ready? Yeah. Right, so this is Munchie's restaurant. We've come to ask him questions. He's probably fled to Pakistan with the rest. Is Bash in here? Right, Bash? How you doing? I've got to put some allegations to you that you've been raping young girls in restaurants, but get the fuck out of here. Bash, why would I have young girls who have named you as raping young children? We have young girls who have named you as raping. Get the fuck out of here. I have girls that have put you as raping. Bash, you're raping young children. You're a fucking bullshit. Your dad has as well. My dad hasn't fucking doing nothing. You're not a bullshit. Bash, you've got nothing to fucking prove. Prove it. We're in a restaurant. Prove it. You're a liar. What the fuck have you done? You fucking
You're a bad man drug dealer, are you?
You're a bad man drug dealer. Holding school children down, one by one, and raping them after each other whilst in their school uniforms, okay? Munchie, Bash, you're named, mate. You're starring in our documentary. The problem we have is unsuspecting customers do not know that these men have been raping children in these businesses. Unsuspecting customers are not aware that these men. Look at you. Unsuspecting customers have no idea that these men have been prostituting and raping children in these businesses. We are here to make sure that the people in Telford, you are unaware of what's been going on.
Get out of the kitchen.
Or what?
Sorry?
Or what?
This is private area, get out of the kitchen.
We've come in here because multiple young girls have named these men as holding them on the floor. His dad holds children on the floor one by one, raped by every member of staff. Every member of staff. Every member of staff. I'm in front of your mum. Anyway, his dad. Your dad rapes little schoolgirls, bro. Your dad rapes little schoolgirls. Young men, young girls have been raped by these men. Mate, young girls. I'm not lying, bruv. Multiple young children. Yeah, what do you know, bruv? They've been holding children down their school uniforms and raping them.
If you know that, if you know that,
you've got rapists working in this pub, lads. There's rapists working in that kitchen. Come on, let's go. So, we know that this is the restaurant that our survivor alleges she was held down and gang raped by Munchie and all of his colleagues. Now we have here the diary. These are diary entries from in our third episode. We look at the murder of Becky Watson, who was killed aged 13. And in here, this is from her diary when she was a school child. Ishaq, Islam, Muhammad. It's listed with Muslim men's names. Yeah, but one of the names that's of interest to us is Munchie Work. So we have a phone number in this 13-year-old child that's been murdered diary under Munchie Work. We have the restaurant where our survivor alleges Munchie raped her. Let's try something, see if we've got the right place. Hello mate, yeah, I just wanted to check that with you. So this is the place where you step down the steps. This is the place that she describes in the story where she was held. On that floor there, she was held and gang raped. We've heard the allegations of Zafar Iqbal. Now Zafar Iqbal, where do we have to go? We heard the allegations that whilst Munchie was raping her ear, Zafar Iqbal was involved, which is Crowe, Munchie's brother-in-law. Where do we have to go to find Crowe? Literally, this is his family business here. Now, you see this high street. Who would have thought on a sleepy little market town called Wem, that within two businesses where we have allegations that young children have been held down and gang raped by the men involved in these businesses. This is his restaurant here. This is his family restaurant. So we'll go and see what they've got to say. Right lads, how are you? Okay. Yeah, not bad. Crowe. Crowe. Crowe, mate, Crowe.
Huh?
Crowe.
Crowe.
Chef. Chef. Crowe. He's been raping children, mate. I want to speak to him about it.
Right, yeah. Want to go out? Right, leave.
Hello, mate. Is Crowe here?
Who?
Crowe.
Crowley.
Crowe.
Who's that?
Now, Zafar Iqbal.
Don't leave, mate.
Crowe.
Not here.
The nickname Crowe. So, not here, no?
No. I think he's on delivery.
I'll show you, bruv. He's on delivery, yeah? I'll show you that.
That's alright.
So you know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we know who he is.
You know who he is.
Yeah, I also know who you are.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But you know who he is, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's his place, his family's place, yeah?
Yeah.
It's his family's place.
Yeah.
I'll just come to ask him some questions, lads, because I'll tell you what it is. I've got girls that name him. I know this is his family's restaurant.
No, it is, but he's not here. He's in Pakistan.
He's in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Do you know why he's in Pakistan? Do you know why he's in?
Family death.
How long has he been there?
He went yesterday.
He went yesterday?
Yeah.
It's pretty good timing, though. Because just tell him when he's back, we have allegations that he's been raping children, and we need to question him about it. Yeah?
Yeah. No, you went yesterday.
Yeah. Do you know that? What do you think, mate? Can I ask you? If you're a member of staff here...
If you're going to ask me, I think you're racist.
You think I'm racist?
I think you're racist.
Okay, I am asking you.
Have you got proof? Can you show me proof?
I've got 4 different girls who don't know each other.
Okay.
Who have all given me his name. Have all told me this, yeah, you know him. Who all told me the stories.
Yeah.
They don't know each other, bro. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've sat them down, spent 18 months. They have all. Do you know what they've done? Do you know what they've done?
Yeah.
They held the girl down. You know, she's 15.
Yeah.
And 7 of them, they breached her anal to her vagina. She couldn't walk for a week. Yeah. So when you hear that story, I don't care what you think about me, if I'm honest. Yeah. But what do you think of him? If 4 different girls are saying that.
Well, I think the story itself. Is bad.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah. If that was to happen.
Is it as bad as racism?
Yes.
It is. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. How am I racist? What have I said that's racist?
Well, I want to see proof for what you're doing.
Okay, but no, let's forget. Okay, you will see proof.
I don't think you coming in here is like. If you've got that case, right? You've got those allegations. Take it to court.
I'm not a police officer, and the police don't take them to court because they have police that work for them, this gang, yeah? They have police on their payroll. Now, do you think it's right, if there are those allegations against this man, do you think it's right that some 14-year-old girls might be coming in here for food?
Yeah, but I don't asking you. The story.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe it.
Do you believe the girls?
I haven't spoken to them.
No, okay, but you're going to see story of 4 girls. Do you think these 4 girls just make it up?
Well,
I'm telling you there's 4 girls. I'm telling you. So you're going to see it on a film.
You're telling me a story.
You know, you're going to see on a film 4 girls.
Gang lads, gang lads.
Come on.
Gang lads, let's go.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, look, there's a gang, lads. Come. Get filming, film them.
Don't worry,
Come.
you racist motherfucker.
We're not worrying.
Not me, you motherfucker. That's what you are, you son of a bitch.
Don't worry, lads.
Motherfucker, Islamophobe, motherfucker.
You're raping kids. Right, let's go. Let's go.
Sorry.
All right, mate. See you later. Come on, let's go. Go. I'm back in Telford. I've drove to Telford because when I went in to approach Munchie and to approach Bash, the owner of the Elephant and Castle, who was an Irish man, who was quite aggressive, quite defensive of the Muslims and the accusations against them. He was defending them. Now, I'm going to approach him and his wife because I don't want to ruin an innocent man's business, okay? So I'm going to give them an opportunity to see the evidence. I think it's important that I give them an opportunity to see the evidence and then they can make a comment once they've seen the evidence. Because I know, we went in there weeks ago, I know that Bash and their organisation are still working in that restaurant every day. I know there are underage girls working in that establishment as well. I know there are, yeah? So it's important that the owners are fully aware of the evidence we have. So we're just going to go and have a friendly chat with them. Post, please ring Amazon Post, please ring for an answer. I'm asking if you want to... Oh, yep, yeah, I am, yeah. Yeah, they are, yeah.
I've just been over to Ireland looking for you.
You've just what?
I've just been over to Ireland looking for you.
Well, don't go over to Ireland looking for me. I'm downstairs, mate. I'm outside your pub. Come out. I'll talk to you.
Man, you could have fucking rang me and told me you're coming, couldn't you?
I'm here, mate. I'm here, yeah? I'm here to see if you want to see the evidence. Do you want to see the evidence that I've got on the men that work in your kitchen?
What evidence? Come here, you're coming up with fucking shit on Facebook and fucking...
I'm not, mate. I'm here.
Fucking rubbish.
Mate, do you want to see the evidence? I'll show you the evidence now. I'll sit down with you and your wife and I'll show you the evidence. So that
okay, wait outside there.
Okay, thank you. Cheers. Bye.
You get whatever you can off him.
Do you want to see the evidence?
I want to talk to you on your own.
That's fine, but do you want to see the evidence?
I said I'll talk to you on your own.
Mate, do you want to see the evidence?
I'll talk to you on your own.
Well, that's there for my security and my safety.
Well, come here, it's only me.
No, but mate, I mean, so no one can say I've said something. I don't want to go in there and you say I've said something.
No, I'm going to bring you into the corner.
That's fine. So there's a computer there, yeah, with the evidence.
Fine.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah,
come on. Mate, I don't believe you're an innocent man running a business.
My name's Stephen.
It is Stephen,
Stephen Lennon.
Yeah.
Fucking give you Tommy Roberts and shit to me.
Yeah.
I fucking had to deal with fucking immigration shit, like you probably had to. Don't be coming over here giving you all your fucking big I am.
What are you talking about?
Fucking British fucking shit.
What are you talking about? I'm here to talk about men who have raped children, bro. Yeah? That's what I'm here to talk about, nothing else. Not immigration, not me, not you.
I seen you running across from over there.
Yeah.
I seen you come in here and saying online there's rapists in this fucking building.
Yeah, there is. Let me show you.
No, but come here. You've tried to ruin my business.
I haven't tried to ruin your business.
You fucking have. You put this online. I've seen it already.
Mate, there's a film
I've
going
had people put this out to me.
There's a film.
Show me already. I've seen it. You don't use this place as a tool for fucking your propaganda.
Propaganda?
Do you not think this fucking white fella's fucking rape?
Oh, okay then. That's okay. So it's okay that...
No, I never said it's okay. No. As an Irish fella, I'm very upset with you. Do you know what I mean? As an Irish immigrant, how you treat people.
How I treat people?
How we have been treated over the years.
How I treat people?
Yeah.
You have a man in your kitchen that holds down children and rapes them, bruv. Don't talk to me about how I treat people. I'm trying... You've got young girls working in your premises. Yeah. Young girls. And you're more bothered about white people rape girls as well. Sort yourself out. You've got Muslim men in there who gang rape kids, bruv. Yeah? And you've got young girls in that premises. I'm here to give you an opportunity to save the young girls.
Is this your thing? Yeah.
No, so the attitude you've come out with, you have been made aware of allegations of rape against children, and you come out going on about immigration and Ireland. What fucking planet are you on? You're embarrassing.
No,
you need to get your wife down here so she could, as a woman, because you obviously ain't got no brain in your head, let the woman see the evidence.
I've got no brain.
There's evidence.
I've got no brain.
Yeah, you've got...
You know what?
Mate, you're comparing white racists when you've got rapists working in your kitchen. You've got young girls in there. Do you want to protect
rapists in my kitchen.
You've got no rapists in your kitchen. Right, so you've seen it. Elephant and Castle is complicit. You are complicit. I'm offering you the opportunity and your wife to see evidence.
I need to knock you the fuck out.
Oh, do you want to see evidence? Do you want to see evidence? Do you want to see a video of a young girl who's been raped by them? Talking.
No video.
Do you want to see a video of a young girl being raped?
I've seen it online. It's all online.
You haven't seen it?
I've seen it.
You have no idea, bruv.
I've seen it.
You haven't.
Embarrassment to you Irish people.
Episode 2, Elephant and Castle, complicit. Cheers, bruv. You had an opportunity, mate. You had an opportunity.
You're an embarrassment.
You're gonna what? I'll tell you, you're my family. You had the opportunity to sit and watch evidence. Yeah, you had the opportunity. I was about to show. I've got a video. You haven't seen it because it's not out. I've got a video of a young girl who I've got.
Out or not out?
It's not out, bruv.
It's not out.
It goes out on the 7th of May. The video of me entering your business, the video of young girls who are 5 young girls, 5 different girls.
In my business?
No, listen to me. 5 different girls that named the men who work in your kitchen. 5 different girls. Do you know what he done? He held her down and one by one, every member of staff, yeah, in his previous premises, raped her on the floor. Yeah? It's got nothing to do with my politics, it's got nothing to do with Ireland, right? It's got to do with a little girl who was held down and gang raped by Bash, by Munchie. They're all named, yeah? And what I offered you, what I've come here to...
you come up with their nicknames now. Where's their proper names a while ago?
I know everyone their proper names. It's going to be in the film. Well, I've given you an opportunity, and you should have got your wife down there.
That was Mexico.
You should have got your wife down there. Yeah?
Did you have a nice time in Mexico?
Clever, right? Just so we're aware, so this is the owner of this premises, yeah? We're lying, right? White men rape as well, right? He's got young girls. There are young girls, so this is why I have to do this film, right? Because there are young girls that are going to be in this premises. Those young girls are in this premises, right? And there are rapists working in his kitchen. And he doesn't care. And he doesn't care.
Tommy.
Yeah, cool, man. I know I'm a good lad, bruv. I know I am. I know I am, mate. Mate, get your hand off me, bruv. Right off, sir. I'm alright, mate. How are you?
Yeah. These boys well just threatening me.
How you doing? No, they haven't. It's all on camera, mate.
It's all on camera. You just said you fucking wiped out my business. You're going to kill me.
I said you've wiped out your own business.
Don't
today. How you doing, so I've come here.
Sorry, just going to activate my body warmer.
That's fine, you can.
Just let you know.
So I've made a film.
Yeah.
And there's a film coming out in Telford.
Yeah.
And in the film we have multiple allegations against men that work in this kitchen.
Okay.
Now, in the heat of the moment when we come into this premises to ask the questions, this gentleman and his family, I understand it's their pub, and I understand that the Indian restaurant is run separately.
Yeah, of course.
So I've came here now and just, which I've got all the recordings of, I've come in now and said, do you want me to show you the evidence I have?
Yes.
Yeah. So calmly,
okay.
Not, do you want me to show you the evidence I have?
Okay.
So that you can make a decision as a business on where you stand.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I get that.
So I bought a laptop.
Right.
I bought a film so that he could see, or his wife could see. I should have got his wife because he's still drunk.
Right.
So that he could see the allegations that are about to be made, because I don't want to say it's the Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, of course.
When it's not the Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not him. It's not his wife.
Yeah.
That's all I come for. That's it.
Okay.
And he's come out going on about immigration, going on about my politics. I said, mate, I'm just here to show you. Yeah?
Okay.
I'm just working, bro.
What's sort of where we're moving forward from here then? Are you,
I'm going now, mate. I've got my footage. That's it, bro.
All right.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Mate, what you should have done, I'll just say one more time, what you should have done, bruv, what you should have done, right, as I said, I've just knocked here to show you evidence, yeah? You should have got your wife to sit down and see the evidence, because what I wanted to do in my film is actually separate the Elephant and Castle from the Mumbai Lounge, yeah?
There's no Mumbai Lounge.
What I come to show you was evidence. So to see if your wife wanted to see girls sitting down telling her
I've seen it. It's
no,
all
you
online.
haven't seen it, man.
I've seen it. It's all online.
No, it's a
as I said to you, I've seen you walking in here.
There's an hour and 20-minute film going out on the 7th of May.
That's fantastic. I'm sure your boys would love to pay it.
Well, you're in it now.
Give you all the money.
You're in it now. See you later. We don't have to worry about me ruining his business. He's just ruined his own business. I had hope that as owner of an establishment that has young girls working there and serious allegations of rape that he's aware of, he'd wanted to see the evidence. I just went in to see the evidence. Do you know what I realised? He threatened to knock me out. And I realise now that his attitude and the way he acted and the way he was there is exactly the reason that this has gone unpunished for 30 years or 40 years. He would be one of the people shutting down the debate, shutting down the ability to discuss these gangs raping children. And he just tried to do that to me. So I'm surprised. I'm disappointed as well, because I'm not saying he's got anything to do with raping children. I'm not saying he's anything to do with these rape gangs. What I am saying is that he's ignorantly defended them without witnessing the evidence we have, because he was more bothered about the fact that I'm accusing Asians of rape. That's what he's bothered about. That was it. White people rape as well. That's his argument to the fact that he's got men in his kitchen, that we have 3, 4, 5 girls alleging the gang raping them. Yeah, I don't feel any guilt now about his restaurant or naming it, because he's done it, not me. So, hello.
What did you say?
just say? Did you call me? What did you say? So the only person I've rang, you've heard that, I'm a white motherfucker, death threats. The only person I've rang, yeah, no one's got my phone number. The only person I've rang is the phone number on the Elephant and Castle. So the owner of the Elephant and Castle, within 6 minutes, has given my number to Pakistani gangs, clearly, who are racially abusing me and threatening to kill me. Within 6 minutes. So he's more in, so not just, I've just realised, so I thought he messed up, yeah, but he's obviously heavily entwined, really linked with them. He must be, for those actions. Wow. Go on, I'm listening.
Yeah. I'll tell him. As a family away, yeah?
You think it's clever naming the mother of my kids? What's that got to do with anything?
Oh, you know you're your fucking kids, are you? Yeah? You're the fucking lady. They'll take your fucking kids, yeah? I'll tell you that, I promise you that. I'm gonna grab your kids and rape them, alright? So that you fucking feel, you motherfucker. Okay? But if you're playing it, I hope you're recording this and playing it. Keep on playing it, keep guessing who this cunt is. Alright? Because I'm gonna stab your kids.
I decided to reach out to a former police officer, a high-ranking former police officer, to ask him the questions, to try to understand what has gone on in Telford, why the police have failed to act, and why they continue to still fail to receive information that I have in my possession that could help them bring criminals to justice. Thanks for meeting with me.
You're welcome.
I believe you're a retired police officer?
Correct.
What was your position within the police when you retired?
When I retired, I was a Deputy Chief Constable.
Okay, so I've spent the last 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, building evidence and a database of witness statements, covert recordings, surveillance of men who are alleged to have raped and prostitute children, trafficked them. There's been a lot of fire bombings. I have evidence within my position that I've attempted to give to a senior officer at West Mercia Police. Have you had an opportunity to watch episode 1?
I've seen episode 1, yes.
Can I ask what your opinion is as a former police officer of the fact Rob Rondell, and I'll quote the police officer, categorically will not meet with Tommy Robinson to discuss this?
There's been a lot of stuff talking about envelopes being passed over in restaurants.
Rob Rondell doesn't want to meet with Tommy.
Categorically,
Tommy's not going to meet Rob Rondell.
I was amazed when I saw that reaction on the film. It's inexplicable, really. If the police were really interested in doing something about all these issues, they would have ripped your hand off to get hands on evidence. And I don't understand why they are avoiding doing anything or taking any more action. It suggests that there's something not right in West Mercia Police.
Can they, as a police force and a police officer, can they pick and choose who within the public they get information off or who they deal with?
So that for some reason they're saying you're not fit to give them evidence, and I just do not understand that. It doesn't, what your background is, what your history is, doesn't matter. That what matters is the truth of the situation.
So at the end of episode 2, we've reached an important point. Our investigations have highlighted allegations of horrific historic sexual abuse of children, repeated rape and gang rape of young children, alleged crimes that have gone unpunished for decades by Pakistani groups of Muslim men in Telford. These are the facts. I don't care about cultural sensitivities or your feelings. We've seen how the failure to bring these people to face justice means that girls and young women in Telford continue to suffer, like Nicole from episode 1, who was abused by some of the same men a decade after the suffering of our courageous survivor you've just heard from in episode 2. We have gathered information about serious ongoing criminality, drug dealing, cases of modern day slavery and abuse of vulnerable people in Telford by criminal gangs who operate with impunity. They don't fear the authorities, they mock the authorities. We have information the authorities don't have. Information that will help bring the reign of these criminal gangs to an end. I want to be very clear. I would like to give this information to the appropriate authorities. The information is extremely sensitive, and to safeguard the well-being of others cannot just be handed to a corrupt Telford police force. I wrote to the National Crime Agency several weeks ago with this offer. I've had no reply. I've repeated this offer to the police I've met concerning the threats of kidnap and rape made against my own children. I'll repeat the offer now, and I'll appeal to Lucy Allen, Member of Parliament. She's very strong on these issues. Can someone please meet me to receive the information I have? They will need to be ready and equipped to safeguard the people who are passing the information to me. However distasteful you find me or what you think are my politics, I'd welcome the opportunity to chat to any Member of Parliament. Please don't let another day go by without acting. That makes you complicit in these crimes. And make no mistake, these are ongoing crimes where young girls and women are suffering.
Why are they approaching you and not going to the police?
Because they don't trust the police, man. That's what I mean, they don't trust them.
All I can suggest is that she goes and asks to speak specifically to the anti-corruption officers at West Mercia.
They haven't done in 20 years though, mate.
They are responsible for law enforcement in that area, do you know what I mean?
They don't enforce it, man. I'm telling you, they do not. Not the way, look, they don't. For whatever reasons, they are interlinked massively.
Go to West Mercia Police and see what they have to say. I mean, that's the best, honestly, that I can tell you to do.
We're going to forget the failures of West Mercia Police. We're going to forget the fact that Rob Rondell refused to meet me to receive evidence. We're going to attempt to start again. You'll be able to follow up in future episodes to see where this goes. I don't have much confidence. We're going to attempt to form a new relationship with West Mercia Police. Do you value the work we're doing? Do you value the content you've just seen? We can't do it without your support. I want you to become a member of our team, our production team. If you can support our work at Urban Scoop, you become a producer. You can sit and watch these films and know that you played your part. You helped us bring them down. You helped us highlight them. And better than that, you helped us save victims. Along the way, we help victims, we move them, we support them. We can't do it without your support. Everything costs money. The travel, the security, we need to be safe. We need to make sure our families are safe. If you can support our work, please log on, subscribe at Urban Scoop with a monthly donation so we know it's guaranteed each month so we can progress, get bigger and bigger and bring you better and better documentaries. Thank you.